But it was just personally, I was kind of proud of myself because I got through it without collapsing.
Muriel, can't you think of anyone but yourself? Tanya's upset. I'm not nothing. Well, nobody said that. Oh, that's Joey out of the group.
Muriel's wedding was like a religious experience for me. I felt so aligned with that character. I think it set the tone for the kind of movies that I've always gravitated towards because it's so deeply funny, but it's so deeply upsetting. It's incredibly tragic and sad. And I just loved that character. I think I love characters who have this internal epitome, some kind of realization, some kind of like real life-changing kind of seismic change in their lives. And you know, it can be subtle. It's just learning to like yourself or love yourself, you know, and that's a big thing actually. And it's hard for people to do. And that movie, it changed my life. I could never have imagined or hoped for the career that it gave me. It opened up so many doors and I will forever be grateful to that movie, and still everywhere I go, that song, Dancing Queen, follows me everywhere. Every store, every restaurant, I'm like, again, what is happening? But I love it because I'm so grateful to that time. I mean, before that movie, I was delivering pizzas. It was a massive life change for me.
Knightley? Never seen him before and she called him Knightley.
I saw her at church. She seemed
Vulgar, base, conceited, crass. How do you do, Mrs. Starr?
Good morning, Miss Woodhouse.
She actually seemed pleased to discover that Mr. Knightley was a gentleman.
Emma was so fun. We were all so young and we were out in Dorset. It was just beautiful. Doug McGrath, who wrote and directed, bless him, died suddenly recently here in New York, and it was just so shocking to hear. But he just pulled together the most incredible group of people on and off screen. I was 22 years old. I was on the other side of the world and I just had a brilliant, brilliant time. It really was so much fun.
Grandma comes to visit me sometimes.
Cole, that's very wrong. Grandma's gone, you know that.
I know. She wanted me to tell you.
Cole, please
She wanted me to tell you she saw you dance.
The Sixth Sense was a movie. I came to New York to meet Knight about doing The Sixth Sense, and at the same time I was meeting Martin Scorsese about bringing out the dead. Knight hadn't done anything. Scorsese. And so I had both my meetings and I had my hopes. And I was walking along the street one day with a friend and I was like, I have a feeling some news has come through. And it's before cell phones, so I go into a little booth and I call the hotel, I get put through to my voicemail, and there was a message. There was indeed a message from my agent and my manager at the time, and I could feel they were all excited and they're like, okay. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta call him back. And I call my agent and he goes, okay, you've been offered. And before he could get it out, I screamed. He goes, no, wait. You didn't hear me. You've been offered The Sixth Sense. And I was like, oh. There are no coincidences in life. I think you get the experiences you're meant to have for your soul's growth. And that movie was so meaningful on so many levels. I still have great friends from that time, and that really changed my career. I was nominated for an Oscar for that movie, which I was not expecting, and I don't think any of us could have predicted how huge the response was to that movie. It really has become like this classic drama, horror phenomenon. I'm forever grateful for that one as well.
Well, let's say you're right and I'm wrong. Let's say there's this whole world going on for Marcus that I don't understand, and somehow, miraculously, you do. Well, what are you going to do about it?
Oh, I'm not going to do anything. He's none of my business.
Oh, God, you're a selfish
Well, you know what? Emma Thompson was actually cast in my part, and then she dropped out, and I got a call on a weekend saying that they wanted me to do it, and I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, I just couldn't believe it. They would come to me after Emma Thompson. It was just like, I love her, what? And then I came to know the Whites brothers, who are just the most talented, loveliest men. I kind of felt ripped off because my character was the saddo. Everyone else was having the time of their lives, and I'm the suicidal lady with balls of snot hanging out of her nose in the kitchen. I love watching Nick Holt grow and soar and evolve as an actor and as a person. I'm so proud of him. So funny being the mother to so many different kids and still having those kind of maternal feelings and caring about them and watching them as they, as they get on. I ran into him actually at a Vanity Fair party for the Oscars a few years ago. And we're standing in the middle of the dance. Everyone's dancing around us. We're completely still. And he goes, you know what? Every time I see you in a movie, I'm like, that's my mom. That's my mom. Oh, it's so funny because that's how I feel about him.
Why did you want to kill yourself?
Oh,
Don't answer the question, Frank.
Richard.
Don't answer it.
Richard.
He's not going to answer the question, Frank.
I wanted to kill
Don't listen
myself
to him.
because
Richard.
I was
He's sick.
very
He's
unhappy.
a sick man. He's a sick in his head man.
Richard.
But I'm sorry. I don't think it's an appropriate conversation for a 7-year-old.
Well, she's going to find out anyway.
Oh, okay.
Go on, Frank.
Such a special time. I lived at the Chateau Marmont during that shoot. John and Val, who directed it, are just dear, fun, gorgeous people. The whole cast, we spent a lot of time in a hot and sweaty bars and got to know each other in a way that was just so profound, and we all knew that it was somehow special. I saw the movie and I was really happy with it, but then we watched it at the world premiere at Sundance and it just became this electric, explosive experience. People were so high on it. And then it just like kept rippling out and had this incredible life. Very special one. I loved making that movie.
All of this stops right now. Right now. No more selfishness. No more hijacking. No more excuses. And no more passing the buck.
No, shut up.
From now on, my life will be organized. My life. My liberty. My pursuit of happiness. These things will bend to my will. I will be in control. Me, Tara. End of story. I am sick and tired of all the craziness.
Man, I was so sad when it got cancelled. I was pregnant at the time and I think my feelings were very heightened. I'd never done a series before and in a way I think it was ahead of its time. We did 3 seasons and to play a character and then return to a character and return to working with the same group of people and already having that sense of family and the shorthand and ease of communicating and the way we all worked and the joy of that, the ease of that, you know. It's such a special story. It's so meaningful and it was really fun and I really just love those people so much because I got to know them over several years, you know, and it's always in here. It's a good one. I watched it recently with my 11-year-old son, which was wild to revisit it for myself, but also to watch it with him and for him to get it. He's so young. It's kind of heavy, but it's also joyous, you know. It's ultimately, it's not about a woman with a mental illness. It's about family and it's about survival and it's about acceptance. It's really such a special one.
I know you miss her, and I know it was an accident, and I know you're in pain, and I wish I could take that away for you. I wish I could shield you from the knowledge that you did what you did, but your sister is dead. She's gone forever.
I had said before it even became apparent that it existed in the world that I didn't want to do anything heavy. I got a call from my agent. There's this script. I know you said that, but it's very special. I think you should look at it. I read it. I cannot tell you. It was like a magnet. There was such a deep knowing that I had to do it. The good thing that came out of this was I knew what it was going to take, and I prepared myself for it in such a way that it didn't ever overwhelm me. And that was a really healthy thing for me in my own process as an actor to figure out, because I'd always been dismissive about, you know, when questions arise about, do you know, your method, do you carry it home? How do you let go of your characters? You know, all that stuff. I was like, oh, that's such what are you talking about? But then I found myself like accumulatively carrying stuff and thinking about things I should have let go. So on that film, it was like, not only was it deeply satisfying work, and I have such respect for Ari, he's an incredible artist. He's a true auteur with an incredibly specific vision and a beautiful vision and a deep, profound, layered world that he creates over and over again in all of his work. I can't wait to see his new movie. But it was just personally, I was kind of proud of myself because I got through it without collapsing.
You remain close to the thrombus.
Oh, they're my family. I feel simultaneously freed by and supported by them.
It was just fun. I mean, I felt like I was invited to hang out with the cool kids at the back of the bus on that one. You know, I got a call. Ryan seemed to have already made up his mind that he wanted me to do it, and I was just blown away. Boston, I love Boston. Such a good vibe there. We were shooting just outside of Boston, and we were pretty much all on set all of the time. And it moved very quickly, the shoot. There wasn't a lot of waiting around, but when we weren't shooting, we went downstairs in that beautiful mansion, and all of the actors just really, nobody went back to their trailer. We just sat together and we talked about everything and we told stories and laughed and played games, and it was just this beautiful shared sense of camaraderie, and we had fun because it's fun. It's such a smart piece. It's so tight, the script. It's just this clever, hilarious, story, and we all got to play. I love my character. I mean, it was just outrageous to play Joni. Just even that voice, the whiny, honey, drippy, and that sense of pretense. And I loved my costumes, but I mean, every cast member I have admired, and now I admire them even more. It was a really, really beautiful one.
Is that him?
No.
Is that him?
Give me the phone.
No, it's Italy calling again. They want me to fly to Rome tomorrow night to settle his affairs. I mean, that's crazy, right? I can't go.
Kristen, what do you masturbate to?
Italian cooking shows. I mean, more specifically, Stanley Tucci searching for Italy. There was this one episode where he went to this burrata factory and it was all creamy and he got his hands in all the milky stuff.
Stop. You've masturbated this fantasy into existence.
Working in Rome, living in Rome, I'd been there many times. But to live there and have the day-to-day experience and work with all those incredible Italian actors and work with that crew, and it was pure magic. I've never laughed so much. We danced constantly. We sang. It was just pure joy from the beginning to the end. Yes, it was hard work and it was focused, but it was honestly, I don't think I've ever laughed so much at work. I literally had the time of my life.